right, so my question now is about what is the best product to buy in the market? Because we've been talking about different things, and the scenarios are based on the gold, the bullion, and what is out there. Yes, not the season. so,
Not the beef stock.
Yeah, so as a novice, am I looking at a coin to buy? And what coin is the more favorable coin that I'm actually buying in the market? So that's kind of the question I have there.
I'm going to give you a little more information frame. So in the past couple of months, supply has been an issue.
Okay.
So I don't think it's much of an issue as much right now. But what I've been telling customers is in the previous market, it was, or let's say prior to this year, the hookup, the connection was, I know a person, or I know a place where I can go purchase some, and I can get the price I want. The prices are low, premiums are low, market is good. There was no uncertainty. That was great. Me, the buyer, if I was the buyer, I could get what I want. Mm-hmm. Now, what I've been, not to fear people, but the reality is now the hookup is that I know somebody that actually has metal.
You said it sounds like a supply and demand scenario we're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So in the supply, that's I'm asking.
Yeah.
What is the supply that's more popular? Because everybody has these trends that are going
Well,
on.
the reason why I brought that up, availability is a thing. You used to be able to say, "Oh, I want this and niche item." It may look different type, different, produced by a different person. Mm-hmm. Now you really just want to go with reliable or price, I should say. Bruce, is that fair?
Yeah, I think you're asking for more specific things.
Yes.
I have a lot of customers who want to stick with the American Silver Eagle.
Because I have a particular funnel. I have a vision and a viewpoint.
It's American.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I'm not going to be traveling to Southeast Asia to trade this. Okay. Cool. Where they're going to have to file it to see what it looks like, and they'll do that in Europe too. So the American Eagle, silver or gold.
Good.
A lot of people, because I think the farther north I go, they're more comfortable with gold and silver Canadian maples. Mm-hmm. And they're somewhat less expensive. The premium is smaller. And remember, I'm talking about going with a smaller premium. But they're still recognizable as 1 ounce of silver and 1 ounce of gold.
Correct.
Those are the most popular. But if I were buying silver, I would buy a private mint.
Now, private mint is different.
Versus a sovereign coin.
Okay.
A private mint has no face value. If you look at a Canadian dollar, which is an ounce of silver, or $5, or you look at our $1 American Eagle, it has a base value of $1. You could spend that for $1, even though the value of the metal is greater than that. The most widespread and most recognizable gold coin in the world is the South African Krugerrand.
Okay.
It's been in production since 1967.
Okay.
Besides links of Rolex or a Rolex, and our pilots in Vietnam, their end of their flight suits were sewn Krugerrands. It was worldwide as a bullion coin.
Interesting.
So the easiest thing to do is to just say, I like the look of this better. Mm-hmm. I like the way this looks. I like the way this feels, and buy that one.
Good.
If you wanted American Eagles, and you ended up buying Canadian maples, you're just not going to be happy with it. So you're not. So buy what you like.
That's kind of the question I'm getting to. So if I'm buying something, again, I'm thinking I'm first timers because you got to be patient with us. We don't know what we're actually buying. So I don't know what I'm buying, but I do see, like, since I come to Andre and he says, okay, here are a few of the things that are available in silver, a few coins
Correct.
that are available. And here are a few gold, if you have a little extra more money, a little money, I can actually buy these gold ones. And they just happen to be a let's say the American Eagle, or it happens to be the Lady Liberty, or it has to be the Buffalo. These are things that I think are more in lines of the trends. Are they more trendy to buy these things that I like, or is it more, as you said earlier, what's available in the market, and that's kind of what you want to buy?
I think it's a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, a little bit of both.
Yeah, typically there's not a larger. Typically, there's most of those coins are available. Okay, in March when the price collapsed along with the stock market and this crisis began, nationwide our inventory was gone in 3 days. 3 days, premiums went sky high.
Yeah.
And I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars in inventory. It was purchased. It was gone. So premiums for us to try to buy to resell were sky high. That doesn't happen very often. That happened in 2008, 2009. It happened. It happened about 2014 when the price totally collapsed, or 2015, I should say. And gold was $1,050 an ounce, and silver was what, $9? I can't remember.
It was like 11
12,
change.
yeah, 11. Anyway, it's a supply and demand issue that doesn't always occur. Normally, it's pretty steady, and it just takes a while to have that inventory come back onto the market and be able to supply with everyone with what they
Price
need and want.
of metals also affects that demand.
Which also brings up more questions about what affects
So
the buying.
demand, so price has gone back up.
Right.
So supply has presented itself. People relinquishing a little bit.
Right. So then what affects price?
Time.
So, because like I can buy a
There are
car
so
and I
many-
know the
I can make
market
anything
is
affect
bad.
price.
Buying a car in December is the best time for me to buy a car.
That's-
So this is what I know in market buying. So in this new industry that we're looking at, gold and silver or precious metals, what affects the actual market that it tends to go up and down and fluctuate the way it tends to fluctuate? And that may be a long question,
It varies.
a long answer, but if you can give us some of that insight.
Let's make that very easy and very quick.
Yeah.
Some of it's about time. It runs in cycles, and we're not used to thinking. We're used to thinking linearly instead of cyclically.
Okay, good.
So it runs in cycles. Some of those are longer cycles. Between 1980 and 2011 was a long cycle. Between 2011 and 2015 was short, and that's when we started up again.
Good.
So you can't judge those cycles like that. Demand is one, and I think the biggest thing, whether we realize it or not, and I don't think we do now yet, you have to think worldwide. Look at what Europe's going through. The demand for gold is greater there, and it's higher there in the euro than what ours is.
Okay.
When people begin to lose faith in their government, that's the biggest hedge that they take, because they can do that on a small level, on a personal level, is buy gold.
Right.
It's a very small market, but when people are afraid, that's what they do. That's what happens as a group of people.
So
as
the
a herd.
injection of fear then in turn helps us.
Fear and anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And we're just now beginning to see that.
So is there a point within this fear that it's a bad time to buy gold? Is there a spectrum of that?
Not at this time, because perhaps the fear is real. If it's real in your mind, it's real.
Right. Good. Yes.
My grassroots feel is that we're at the beginning of something again. 2011, is when I call it the Wild West.
Yeah, it was wild.
Things just
So
took
that
off.
means, so that means price of gold was at an all-time high, and silver was all-time high.
Correct.
Okay.
The difference is we're in the time period, but the price is higher.
Mhm.
We're about $200 away from the all-time high.
About $150.
Yeah.
Wow.
But silver is doing something,
Okay.
but I think real world trading, it's in the 20s. I mean, like $18 to $20 is really where it's trading. So we look at so I'm saying a lot because the price dropped, but the real world application was we were at a certain price. So silver is about 18, $20.
Okay.
Gold is about 17, 1800.
So most people have some fear when they buy it. Some people buy it for enjoyment of owning it. Some people buy it for greediness. And so look at what your feelings are for doing it, and then look at what your objective is. If it's to protect just some of your portfolio, protect some of your
Yes.
money,
Right.
You're correct.
then if it's the right time, you'll know it. Price doesn't have a lot to do with that. If it doubles, you can go, I made some money. But you also had that piece of having something else through this period.
Right.
Okay? So,
That's a good point. So let's segue into then. I'm now no longer a novice. Now I have a little more experience, and I'm willing to buy some gold. And I want to buy gold that, let's say, I have some extra money from tax season. Let's use tax season. So I have $5,000 that I want to actually invest in the gold and silver market, the precious metal market. With that $5,000, I am now looking and trying to do some homework to figure out what is the best thing to actually do. Is that, in your opinion, the best time to look at, or let's say, what is the best time? Tax season is just
I
ended.
don't
Is it
think
the
there's
best
the
time
best
now?
time.
yeah, that's not relative.
Time is not relevant.
No.
Consistency is more important than time, I think.
So okay, so time is not a factor in this. But now that I have this $5,000 windfall of money that I have, how do I fold that into my portfolio? Do I actually go and buy a stack of silver,
You
stack of gold?
do what we talked about. You find that person that you feel comfortable with and make that relationship.